Hey everyone, good evening. I was wanting to make this video for a very long time, and I finally picked up some courage and got a little time to make this video. And the only reason I wanted to do it is because I feel that way many a times, and I'm sure there might be a lot of us who feel the same but don't have a voice or don't want to speak it out or don't know exactly what to do about it. So this video is for all the mamas out there who are especially struggling with their kids and have a lot going on in their minds but not being able to express it or vent it or anything of that matter, of that sort. So the thing is that I had a job and everything, and once I had my first baby, I went on maternity, and then I thought, I would just continue my work and things. And it was very difficult. I don't know what had happened. So I think most of us who hit maternity once and then get back to work after that, many of us would probably, be able to just set back in and, with their struggles, of course, with struggles, but it would be possible for them to, they don't have a choice. So there are many of us like me who struggle and are not able to keep up with the responsibilities of, the work, the stress at work, not responsibility, I would say stress at work, and the responsibility of, prioritizing your kid and your kid's health and needs and everything, especially new mamas. So once I got back to work after my maternity, after my first baby, I kind of had a very tough time, trying to keep up with my previous record. So I was a good performer. And once I went back, everything kind of started, I had to juggle between a lot, and it started becoming a lot stressful for me and things. And I just thought I would continue and, maybe switch companies and things like that. But then I worked for about, I think, 3 to 4 months after that, after the maternity, and it was very difficult for me, frustrating. And I thought I would put my papers down and then, get maybe a couple of months break and then look for another company somewhere else. I got pregnant again, and the second time, and after that I had already put down my papers. So once I got pregnant, I thought, I wouldn't be able to take the stress and, be pregnant and everything, because I just didn't want to get into that. I thought, let me just give this the time. And then after that, obviously, second baby was born, and then I continued being at home, and it's been 2 years now since I put down my papers. And it has been very difficult. Now I'm somebody who isn't the person who likes, who's just staying at home and things like that. But the thing is, it took a lot for me to come to this understanding that if you are a mother who thinks you are doing nothing in life and just staying at home with 2 kids, and your life feels meaningless, it has no other purpose and things, let me tell you this. You should really pat yourself on the back, because what you're doing is not nothing. You are bringing up lives, and especially today, where so many things out there are happening, children are getting into so many different kinds of things. Watching the news has become such a big task, such a big difficult thing, that it's like watching a horror film or something that's scary, a thriller, because the things that are happening amongst kids and things like that is so very, it is very painful to hear. It is very miserable to listen to these kind of news that comes up, be it ragging, be it whatever it is. But mama, I am telling you that few years or that time that you spend at home, your entire energy, your entire everything in bringing up that little life is a big responsibility, yes, but at the same time you are making that child develop the the years of its life, which is so important. I mean, like, you are developing the child's basic morale, which many children out there are just not. I don't know. Sometimes I'm not blaming anyone, but parents don't have the time to check into every single thing that, children are doing. And without them even realizing, tomorrow the child turns out to be a big bully somewhere, or harassing somebody, or, doing something very grave and very scary. So, what I'm trying to say is that initial years that you spend with your child, just make sure that you give it your whole, because you are responsible for sending out that person, to a child, to become that adult, that person into the world tomorrow, who is going to make judgments and decisions based on these small things that you have taught when you spent those few years in the house. It is difficult for me sometimes when I think that, I was somebody who was out there working, meeting targets and meeting people, and, so many different things. But today I am sitting within the four walls of my house. It's been 2 years. I feel like everything around me is crashing. I feel like everyone else is doing so many amazing things, and, getting promotions or getting new jobs, or, going to places and things like that, and I'm stuck here with, looking after two kids. But it took a lot of time, sacrifice, prayer, and everything for me to come to this point where I realized that this time that I'm spending with my kids is so precious and so much necessary. You have your man out there who's working to provide for your family, but what is the thing that you are doing? Of course, he is also equally responsible to, develop those kids, and, help in building those kids, their lives and everything. But you as a mother, this prime responsibility is ours. I mean, that very little thing that you build up from that small age, be it in letting the child invest his or her time in prayers, giving your child that ground, grounding the child in something. For me, it is grounding my children in faith. Now, tomorrow, I know it is for sure, life is not guaranteed for any of us. But the only thing that I can guarantee is, someone, that God up above, can be there with our kids when we are not able to provide for them or be there around for them. So, I have seen how God has worked in my life. And there is no way or nothing on earth that could ever take that away from me. That, the faith that you put into your child, you knowing what kind of a parent you are, the things that you have struggled with and things like that, you don't want your kids to suffer the same. So you give your child something to fall back on when your child is going through something. And for me, it was in terms of faith. You have your whatever you think, your child can fall back on when he or she is, when you are not there around to help your kid. So this is what I kind of like, I'm trying. I'm also growing and learning every single day something or the other, about our kids. And it is not that just our kids who are, growing, developing and learning. It is us as parents who are also learning things every day, because every situation is so challenging and different when it comes to our kids. Everything is like, we get to see something new, something very challenging to deal with. We are not given a manuscript or a catalog to, refer to as to when this happens, you go and do this, when this happens. No, we just all just left to bring up these little lives. They are going to become individuals tomorrow out there in the world, responsible for themselves, their actions and everything. But what matters here is what you put into them in these very initial years of their life, which is so crucial. Not schools. Do not rely on schools to build your child's morale, or do not rely on school to build your child's understanding, empathy, the caring nature, sharing nature, and self-control and all those things. It is you as a parent who's wholly, solely responsible for that individual's life. We get to see just the small picture, but the bigger picture is these seeds that we sow now is what is going to show into their lives in the bigger screen one day, on their bigger picture of their lives tomorrow. So you are not useless or sitting at home and doing nothing. What you are sacrificing at home, your time, your everything, these are the little seeds that you put into your child. And that is what your child is going to grow up watching. what you are doing, how are you doing things, and everything. Now, if you're going to be parents who are not so invested into your child's life, the child is just going to be growing up as someone who's confused, someone who's having a lot of emotional trouble, someone who's having. Now, I'm not saying we can be perfect parents, no, but this is the last thing that we can do to try. I just heard of so many, cases just the other day where I heard 3 students take their own lives, and what, they are just like 10, 11, 12, 14, 13 teens. I mean, it is so sad that, they feel like, and one of the reasons were, for one of the kids were, they didn't have their parents around, to help them or guide them or whatever it is, from what I got to know. And that is just the saddest thing. So you invest yourself into your kids' lives in the starting, like at the initial stages of their life, and I am pretty sure that tomorrow you will be at least a little peaceful that you did your best for them. Of course, as they grow into adults, they're going to make their own choices, but that sense of direction comes from you. For example, like if I am putting faith into my child, like, giving them that faith, kind of an understanding, at the same time building their morale, that, hurting another kid is wrong, or snatching something from someone is very wrong. I have a toddler and an infant, and my toddler is like, she's a gem, and she is very understanding and very caring. Sometimes I feel a little too worried that, she is so caring and she's so delicate that I'm sending her to, if I send her with a group of other kids, I am so scared where they might hurt her and she wouldn't even say anything, because sometimes there have been instances that things like this have happened, and it has kept me worried. But then it's not going to back me off from, teaching my child to bully somebody else or something, but to teach her how to tackle these situations. Of course, it's challenging for me and difficult for us to, as parents, to see our children go through something, but at the same time, you being there with them and teaching them and telling them is of prime importance. And this is not to discourage that anyone is doing a bad job or something. It is very overwhelming for us. It is very, very overwhelming, but we don't see the difference we are making in their lives, because we are so overburdened by the stress that we go through being parents, and not having time for ourselves, especially mothers. Everything is invested into the kid. There is no personal space anymore. There is even going to the washroom, or even bathing. Everything is just is encroached upon, I would say, or every time is taken away. But even though it feels difficult, tomorrow that life you're pushing out into the world, there you can take credit for that, and that credit falls on you. If you have sown the right seeds, you can be so confident that even in your absence, your child is not going to do something wrong. You can be that confident about it. So, I mean, I just want parents to realize, especially mothers, to realize that what you're doing at home, within the 4 walls of your home, your tears that you shed, the pain that you have, the discomfort, the everything that you go through, the confusion, the tiredness, and everything is not in vain. If you invest those right seeds into your kids right now, it will not go in vain. Tomorrow you are going to be proud of that, everything that you did. It is difficult right now. Yes, I am struggling too. But I know that this someday will pay off. And I have faith in God that He will not let me down. And I will not be let down. So I am telling you, mamas, don't feel useless. Don't feel like you are a nothing. I know the most underrated thing in the world is a homemaker, a mother who's living at home, who has to take care of so many things, make so many decisions, be it small. Every single second our minds are racing with thoughts. We are exhausted. We are absolutely exhausted. Exhaustion is not even a word that could match up to how we feel sometimes, and there's nobody who can understand it. Some of them feel like we are overreacting, but we cannot help it. As mothers, we just cannot help but sometimes worry about our kids and things, and it's natural. But hang in there, mama. What you're doing is not useless. You're doing the biggest thing ever. Tomorrow, a company CEO who's so successful and who's so there, out there and up there, had once been brought up by a mother who would have been struggling and suffering just like you and me. We don't know what our children are going to turn out tomorrow, but if you are confident that the seeds that you're sowing in them today are good seeds, they are of value, it is not wasted, you will reap those seeds one day. And those children are going to be so grateful and thankful to you. So we even hear of so many cases where children, just dump their parents, aged parents and things like that. Now, if you invest in those right seeds, tomorrow your kids are not, out of their own love for you, they're not going to, have the need to want to dump you or something. There are other cases, but I'm just talking about the things that I can think of, right now. And for the mamas who might be struggling and who might be feeling as wasted, these years of yours are not wasted. These couple of years, for me, it took a long time for me to come to terms with that and actually enjoy it. When I say enjoy, I'm not saying like I'm not having any other troubles and problems and things, but I know I can sleep peacefully knowing that I have been there for my kids, and I am there for my kids as much as I can be. And these years that I am at home, whether I'll get back to work in the near future or what, I am not sure. But until then, these years that I spend with my kids at home, these first 3 years now, if you're not sending your child to a daycare or whatever, you being there with those kids at that time is what is so important, and you are the first teacher of that kid. So what you're doing is an amazing job. It is nobody else on earth will do that, because nobody can ever replace what you are doing. You are an amazing mother. You are an amazing person. It is just a matter of time where your child grows up tomorrow, and you would be having your life and the child having his or her own lives and responsible for whatever they're doing. So that time will come. But this is just passing. It is passing, and we are given that big responsibility to take care of them and nurture them in every single way. It is not easy. So what you're doing is nothing small. You're doing a great job, and I just hope that this video kind of gives you some kind of an understanding as to, I know it doesn't reach any the depth of what you're struggling and things like that, but as a mother, I thought it was important for me to share it, because I go through the same challenges, and I'm sure that there might be at least one mother, two mothers out there who are struggling with this. So if you see this is important, or it has given you some message, or it is of some value, then do share it, like this video and comment, and let me know how you feel, or how challenging has motherhood been for you, or is it been an amazing journey? I would love to know. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I really hope it made some kind of a difference to you, or gave you some insight into how important you are in your child's life, and whatever you're doing is absolutely not a waste. So thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.